And every single one of your Proton Packs from Hasbro is Videobob's Ecto 1. Hey, what's up guys? Videobob here. You know, I just posted this video comparing the packs that we used to build. We're not building them anymore. And the new Hasbro Spangler edition pack. You know, they did a crowdfunding campaign for these, Hasbro did. I think they sold 21,000 of these at $400 a piece. That's $8.5 million, something like that. So you got to think, like, it took them about a year to deliver these while they were tooling them. And, you know, I don't want people to misunderstand the video that I did before. People thought like I was kind of knocking this thing. I am not. What I was trying to say is that this is the feat of engineering. As someone who builds things for a living, I wasn't here trying to promote this pack because I don't even build and sell these anymore. Every once in a while, we'll maybe put one out, but there's really no point, like, because I bought a couple pallets of these. The thing is that the time and effort it takes to build one of these, you could never do that for $400. You couldn't do that for $1,000. You can hardly do it. You can't do it for 3 times the money, 4 times the money. What they did is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if they're going to make another one. Now, what my plan is I'm going to un-afterlife this thing. I'm going to take it completely apart. I'm going to repaint it, replace all of the parts with the genuine parts, because quite frankly, you know, this thing, the core of this thing is unique and genuine. Now, you know, this pack, the shell of this thing was sourced from a screen use shell. And there was a lot of controversy over it, and I've talked about it before, and I don't really want to have to go into it again. There was a lot of controversy about this thing back in 2011, where I got into a little bit of a war with some of the other people who also had this thing. And some of those people were on the GB Fans page, and for like 10 years straight, they have just hated on me, and they've got all these threads, and it's all just made up. It's all completely made up. The only thing that they've gotten right about the whole thing is the shell was recast from a screen use shell. You know, basically, I'll give the quick rundown again because I've talked about it a million times. This place called HMS Studios was making these based on the stunt pack for the live action show at Orlando, Universal Studios. And a couple years later, this guy named Ross walks in, sees the thing hanging on the wall, and buys it from him. Takes it over his buddy Sean Bishop's house, who's a well-known, you know, Ghostbuster fan. You know, he's built Ectos, he has screen use packs, and they posted on their Facebook page, hey, look everybody, we've got a real screen use pack, we're gonna make copies of it. They didn't actually say that, they just said, oh, what are we gonna do with this? You know, and then I contacted Sean and go, I'd like a copy of this. He goes, well, you'll have to talk to Ross. So Ross was selling this copies of just the shell for like $700 or $800 a piece. A friend of mine, Thiago, in Dallas bought one, and I already had my prop shop running, and he brought it over and he goes, hey man, this is like a screen used shell. Sean Bishop verified that it's correct, and everybody's ripping it off. I think we should make a copy of it too. And I said, well, before I do that, let me talk to Ross. So I called Ross, the guy that had it, and I said, you know, what's the deal with this? He goes, yeah, it's true. We've copied it. Me and Sean are copying it. We're selling copies of it. We'd rather you didn't do that because we're selling them. You know, the professional courtesy would be to not sell them. So my accusation of recasting isn't that I stole someone's work. It's that Ross's argument was, I found it first. I got the right of first refusal to steal it. And my argument was, there's no honor among thieves and pirates. You've stolen it. I'm going to steal it. Now, if I could go back in time to 2011, I think I would have not copied and sold this thing, just to have avoided all of the controversy. But just to be clear, almost every single Proton pack that you find out there for sale, whether it's the Anovos or even this thing, all comes from the lineage of what this shell is. Now, once I had the shell, I had to make everything else. I had started off by trying to buy parts from the community. I bought bumpers and HDAs and all the little parts. And the parts that I was getting were just trash. So I decided to make my own parts. But these guys jumped to the conclusion and said, wait a minute, since you bought parts from us and now you're selling those parts, you must have copied ours. Well, that isn't the case. What happened was I bought another guy's bumper, I bought another guy's parts, I looked at them and I go, these are not the quality that I want. They don't fit my pack. let's throw them in the trash and start from scratch. So we made this out of wood, we made this out of wood, you know, we made these out of metal, we made these out of metal. And I have all of these original parts, and I've talked about this in the past. Every single thing on the pack that is not the shell is something that we either made or sourced from the real part, like the clippered valve or the Raytheon knob, for instance. But the shell is a universally stolen, copied thing. Sean Bishop had it. That's what the Anovos pack is. That's what this one is based off of. And I'm sure that if we were to take measurements of this, you'd find it's the same. So I saw comments on my video, people going, oh, you're going to recast the parts this, you're a recaster. Why would I recast the parts off of this? I already have the original molds in the first place. And I want to show you an example of what I keep trying to tell people who, they go on the GB. The thing about the GB Fans thing is it's run by a guy named AJ Quick. AJ has been stalking me for years. He dresses up like me and actually goes to cons dressed as me. He's been harassing me and cyberbullying me for many years. And quite frankly, now that we're moving into a new territory of attraction, I actually have some entertainment lawyers that are planning on sending him some cease and desists, and who want to sue him for his threads on me, because all this stuff is just like completely made up. You know, we've sold something like 500 of these over the last, 10 years. I work with Universal Studios. I work with Sony. I'm in the Ghostbusters 2016 movie. I was invited to the premiere of the film. There's somebody who kept making this comment that I got yelled at by Jason Reitman. And that's true. It really did happen. He was in the middle of something with his family after the premiere, because I had been talking to his wife and his dad. And he was kind of agitated about some. And I said, hey, Jason, can I talk to you for a minute? And he goes, not right now, Bob. Call me later. So it's true. He did yell at me for trying to interrupt him. And I go, well, I never get to talk to you, you know? And he's like, call me at the office later. Anyway, we ironed it out. But that's a true story. But I did get to talk to Ernie while I was there. And I've done a bunch of, as I mentioned before, I've done a lot of appearances with Ernie. I actually got Ernie a gig on the Stern Pinball Machine game. A friend of mine worked for Stern. When they were building the Ghostbusters game, I gave them Ernie's number, and that's how Ernie got the gig. And then we've done a lot of charity events and other appearances together. So I love Ernie so much. He's like a dad to me. I love that man so much. Anyway, I wanted to point out something. This is something that happens in my universe, both in Back to the Future and Ghostbusters all the time. Now, the journal, the Spangler journal that comes with every single one of your Hasbro Proton Packs has a little Videobob in it. Somebody pointed this out to me, and I'll put it up on the screen. You notice anything about this Ecto? Let me put the picture up on the screen. Anybody who knows what the Ecto looks like can tell that this is not a 1959, this is a 1960. Not only that, this is a Eureka, okay? Because you could tell by this other window. That's a picture of one of the Ecto ones that I just built here in Las Vegas last year and delivered to a private collector. Picture of me driving the car. It's from one of my earlier videos. I'll put a link to the picture of that. So obviously, whoever was putting together this book Googled Ecto 1. What popped up? Bob's Prop Shop, my picture of my Ecto 1 that I built. And then they vectored it, they sketched it, and every single one of your Proton Packs from Hasbro is Videobob's Ecto 1. That is so funny to me. And this stuff happens all the time in the Ghostbusters Back to the Future universe. I find my stuff, my packs, or my flux capacitor, or my DeLorean time machine. I found pictures of my DeLorean time machine on posters, t-shirts, booklets and things, instruction things, anything Back to the Future or Ghostbusters, I find, and the A-Team as well. I have found these things. It's so funny because we've built like 4 Ecto 1s, 45 DeLorean time machines, 8 Knight Riders, 8 Bluesmobiles. Matter of fact, I mean, you go look at the Wikipedia page of the Blues Brothers, and there's, one of our family of cars there. So I just think it's hilarious. So some of these comments and some of these things, you got to understand, I've been selling this stuff I've been on eBay since 1998, and I have 100% positive feedback. And when you Google Bob's Prop Shop Proton Pack, You will find countless videos of people who bought these things and were happy with them. There's not one single negative review of my cards or my props that exist that I know of. If you have one of these and you got a problem, please contact me. I'll help you with it. But it hasn't been a problem. And the problem is these fan forums are run by like 1 or 2 people that are admins. And if you were to go onto GB Fans right now and mention my name, they're going to jump all over you and tell you all these things, and they will just delete and ban you if you try to defend yourself in any way. I like to work on, public forums like here on YouTube, Facebook. I like to sell on eBay because I like their feedback system and I like their guarantee system. Because you know that if you buy something and it isn't what's represented, you can get your money back and you can publicly complain. Well, how is it that I have 100% positive feedback? Well, it's because I do good customer service and I put a lot of pride into our work. And, our guy Omar, who works on these, he's been with me for a long time. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to making these things. This Ecto 1 was, we originally got it from another fan, had to rebuild it from scratch. One of my guys out here, Mike Softing, who helps me with my projects, he did all the hard work on that, so he should get the credit for that. But let me tell you, I am not dogging the Hasbro pack. What I was trying to say in my comparison, but I want to address something else that a lot of people didn't understand. I kept using the word like professional pack, a professional cosplayer. What I mean is, there are people who will spend $10,000, $20,000 on their costume, much more, and go to Comic-Cons all over the world. Like, these people are like professional cosplayers. Then you have people that'll just buy something like this, take it out of the box, they'll go down to Spirit, they'll wear the Spirit costume. They're just casual fans. They're not really cosplayers. They're just putting on a costume for fun. For that. A cosplayer is really somebody who puts the time and effort. They want every little thing. They will pay the extra money for this real part or that real part or this real thing. Even though this thing isn't 100% accurate, this is not 100% accurate in any way because you got GB2 cable, GB1 knob. There's a lot of different things about it that are mishmashes and are a little bit wrong. But at the end of the day, there's people who make a lot of different weird artist interpretations of the pack. And this one is just my own personal one. And it's one that we kind of experimented on whenever we were trying out something. So it's been rebuilt so many times I can't count. But I just thought that this was really funny. That's just really funny. You know it's hilarious. I have my fans out there. Apparently I have 25 million viewers of this channel, 121,000 subscribers. And for those of you who watch because you're a fan, thank you so much. But for the people out there that watch because you hate me, thank you so much. I still get paid every time you watch. So I just wanted to talk about how these trolls work on these forums. You're talking about nameless people with no picture. They've got a made-up name, a made-up picture, a made-up profile on a made-up forum, and they can say and do whatever they want, right? And I can tell you this for sure. You are not going to be working with Sony and Universal Pictures if any of the things that they say on these things, it's like sometimes people send me screenshots and I read this stuff and I just go, what? Like, what are you talking about? What? And they've got me associated with certain people I've never heard of and all these different things. If you want to know anything about me, folks, you can go to my Facebook at Videobob Moseley on my Facebook. You can come watch the videos that I've been posting since 2007 here on this page. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm easy to get to. Everybody knows where I am. Everybody can send me a message. I'm not hiding from anybody. Everybody knows what I'm up to. And so many times there were these haters that were on these forums that read all the stuff and then they met me or they saw my stuff and they were like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You seem perfect. You seem like a nice guy. Listen, I can be a dick. I mean, listen, I would hate me too. If I was a young guy working my ass off at like Taco Bell for 10, 15 bucks an hour, I would be pissed off that I could not afford to buy one of these packs for 3,500 bucks. I would be pissed off that I couldn't afford to buy one of these for like 600 bucks. You got to understand, folks, I'm making premium, expensive products for people who can afford them, right? And that's just because it's good business, and I would like to be able to make something affordable like this. I would love to be able to sell a Proton Pack for $400. But I'd have to, be, you know, Hasbro does like, you know, $10 million a day in business. They can afford to do something like this. And that was what my point was with the comparison video, is that no prop builder could possibly build something like this for that kind of money. It doesn't matter that it's not like as good. It's awesome. It's epically awesome for what you get for the money. So I am not putting down the Hasbro pack, and I am not trying to blow myself up on my own pack. I'm not even building and selling these. I have one that I would sell that I have on eBay, but I gotta be honest, why would anybody buy one of these for $3,500 when you can just get one of these? That was my argument. I have no plans of even trying to go forward with these. It's over. Now, these are being sold on the secondary market for, you know, double the price, but still a value. Because you got to think, they sold 21,000 of these things, okay? There's plenty of them out there floating around. I think the prices are going to come down on them. Now, what I'm going to do, like I told you before, we're going to do a whole video series, and I'm sure other people are going to beat me to the punch. Yes, I know about Adam Savage, and yes, I know about all the other people. But what I planned on doing is, I'm going to put an actual aluminum motherboard on this with an Alice pack. I'm going to take this thing completely apart and repaint it in flat black, because I want to get rid of the shininess. Then I'm going to get rid of all of the afterlife adornments and make it more like an 84, 89 pack. Then I'm going to put, like, you know, some real parts on here, replace all the rubber stuff with the original clippered connections. And I'm just going to use it as a base, and I'll probably fill in some of these holes, little Bondo, little filler, paint it, fix it. And then I'll be able to make these. I might even change a few other things, electronics and whatnot. And we're going to make a series about it that might be different than what other people's idea is. And maybe it's something that you want to do. I'm not planning on selling them, folks. I know I bought a bunch of them, but they're going to be used for our attraction that we're going to have here in Vegas. And we'll get to that soon. But the thing about it is, I'm a Ghostbuster fan just like you are. And I started off maybe just like you. I used to work at Jack in the Box. I didn't make a lot of money. And I went out into the backyard 20 years ago and started fiddling around in the garage, and I made myself a flux capacitor, and I made myself a this or that, and it took a long time to get to where I am now. So that's my encouragement for some of you out there who, you know, maybe you're angry and bitter and you go, I can't afford to buy one of those. That's why, you know, I run into angry fans all the time. They go, I want a DeLorean time machine, but they're $150,000, and I can't afford it. Yeah, you know, but, you know, McLarens are expensive. Rolls Royces are expensive. Big houses are expensive. You know, big Rolexes, they're expensive. And this stuff, nobody needs a Proton Pack. Nobody needs a plastic backpack. I mean, let's be honest, folks. Most of you are 30, 40, 50 years old. You don't need to dress up like a Ghostbuster, go, oh, look at me, I'm a Ghostbuster. You don't need to do that. You have other priorities. You have your family. You have your kids. You have your education. You have your bills, okay? Unless you're at a point in your life where most of my customers are, they've paid off their debts, they have some extra money, and they're sitting around there going, okay, now what can I blow $5,000 on today? And those are the people that we sell. You got to think, and over 10 years we did like 500 of them or something. That's a lot, but not really, right? That's not really a lot. So compared to these guys that popped out over 20,000 of them in one whack, I can't compete with this on any level. Now, the whole point of this video was to just point out some of the hypocrisy and the fun. I'm just a fan, and you know, some of these people out here take this stuff real seriously. And I'm sorry if you're going to get butthurt with what I'm about to say. But there are people out there that are just obsessed with whatever one thing it is. Maybe it's Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Iron Man, Spider-Man, whatever that thing is. It could be anything. It could be My Little Pony, whatever. And it's their one thing they focus on. They've got Ghostbuster sheets and blankets. They've got Ghostbuster lunchbox. They're driving around their regular car with Ghostbuster stickers on it. Their entire life is that one thing. It might be a band. It might be the band Kiss. It might be whatever it is. There are people who focus in on one thing, and it becomes their entire identity. And I don't think that that's healthy. Okay? Because some of these people become overly just fanatical and obsessed. And some of these people that are on this GB Fans page, they chose me to be a target. They have plenty of targets. They have page after page of people that they just want to shit on. That's their hobby, shitting on people. And it's not healthy. It's not good. It's not good for the community. It's not good for their own self. It's not good for the casual fan who just wants to enjoy this stuff. And what I found that's interesting is when I attend Ghostbuster events, like when I was at the GB Fan Fest in Culver City a couple of years ago, I thought to myself, oh man, you know, there's all these like haters on this page that are going to be messing with me. It's going to be terrible, right? I didn't know what to expect. But what I found was in person, something that we've lost in this new generation. In person, it was fantastic. I had people, one after the other, come up to me and say, Bob, I'm such a big fan of your work. I've always wanted to meet you. I love your videos. I didn't have one single negative interaction. Not one. I had a great time. I had breakfast with Dan Aykroyd and his dad and Ernie. That was fantastic. What an amazing experience that was. You could see the video on there. I bought a giant case of those shoes and had Dan sign them. We sold them all for charity and gave all the money to the Autism Speaks Foundation. That was a great opportunity. Made me feel good. Just everything about that whole thing was fantastic. And then when we did the premiere for Afterlife in Manhattan, and I was invited, one of 50 people that was invited to be on the red carpet. I watched in the front row with my buddy Kyle. We were sitting against the rail watching the thing, and there I was with the entire cast, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. They were all there watching the film, all in one room. It was fantastic. Again, not a single negative thing that happened that whole trip. We went to the firehouse. We got to meet some of the actors. We saw the real Ecto-1. We just had a great time. And I was like, man, if it could be like this all the time. This stuff, for whatever reason, when people get on the internet and they get that keyboard warrior mentality and that screen is there and you don't have this interaction that we're having now, or well, this is on a screen, but when you have that interaction in person and, you know, like, I'm just trying to say to you, like in my normal life, I don't have strife. I've never been in a fist fight in my entire life, really. I don't have altercations in person. I'm friendly, I laugh, I joke, you know. And if I do meet somebody in person who has had some kind of problem with me, by the end of that conversation, if we haven't like made up and had a drink together and slapping each other in the back, that other person's got serious like problems, because by that point I have done everything, I've exhausted everything I can to try to solve that issue. And anybody who knows me, anybody who's ever met me will tell you that I will do everything that I can to try to get along with you. But there are some people that I don't want to make this a political thing, but we saw over the last couple of years how people can they just automatically hate each other because of what they believe about your political affiliation, or what they might believe that you think is your fundamental beliefs on a subject, you know, on the country or on these rights or on these beliefs. And I can tell you that I have friends of every race and color and gender and orientation and whatever. These people are in my family, these people are in my circle, and I see all sides of it, whether it be conservative, liberal, democratic, whatever, right? And like I just had a friend come visit me, you know, who, you know, he wanted to wear a mask the whole time, and he's a very liberal guy, and I think it's pretty obvious that I'm a little bit more on the freedom level of things. I'm patriotic. I love America. I love the American flag. I love our military. I love our police. I love everything America offers. And for some people, that means that because I love America, that apparently I'm a bad person. You know, I'm like, well, doesn't mean I hate you just because I love this. And I wish we could get back to where we were before we were so divided. And these fan forums are one of the worst breeding grounds for that type of bacteria. You know, it's like a petri dish of hate. And I bring that up because it's like when you've been around these different communities for, you know, 25 years, and especially when you start to really make a name for yourself. I mean, I had my own television series for a while with millions and millions upon views on the internet. I'm a member of all these. I've been a member of many different forums. I've been in all these different things. When you become high profile to the point that when Ghostbusters puts out a product, they use your stuff in it, even by accident, that you become a target. I'm not trying to say I'm a perfect person. I'm not trying to say I've never done anything wrong. I'm not trying to say I never pissed anybody off. I clearly do. But a lot of times it's really, really misguided. So I wanted to put out this video today to talk about some of those things and how goofy they are and how we should really grow the fuck up. I'm 48 years old. I've been married for 20 years. I run a business and I'm a nice guy. So before you start making crappy comments and regurgitating third and fourth party stuff that you know nothing about, I encourage you to do one thing first. If you have a critique against me and my stuff, at least see it in person and meet me in person and then make your judgment. Because just like I expect, or just like, I expect others to treat me the way I would treat them, and that's by judging the content of their character. I know I've said and done things in the past that are considered offensive or abrasive, but really it was just a lack of social skills. And maybe that's why I like to support the Autism Speaks Foundation, because even though I am not diagnosed autistic, I also, like many of you, suffer from a bit of a social, I don't want to say it's a disability, but I interact with people differently sometimes. And for me, I just have no filter. I just say whatever just comes out of my mouth without thinking about it. And I don't think about how that might offend or hurt someone else until after I've even heard it through my own ears. I go, ooh. And I've gotten way better about that in my older age now. But gosh, 15, 20 years ago, it was terrible. I would just say things that are not appropriate, whether I was typing them or saying them out loud. And there was interactions that I had with people and they would remind me of that and I go, ooh, did I say that? Really? Sorry. The only defense I have is that I haven't had any malice, or I didn't mean it in the way you probably took it. So there's some of you out there that might be watching who met me one time and they're like, yeah, that guy's kind of a dick. I'm sorry. So there's people that come to my page and they either love me or they hate me. They either like and subscribe or like, ah. So you can either take me or you can't. My wife is super liberal, but also the most tolerant person in the world. And I think the only reason that we are together is because she can put up with anything. And a lot of the people that she trains, because she's a personal trainer, she deals with special needs people. And I'm like, thank goodness, because I am definitely that. So join with me, my special needs friends, and enjoy in the fandom of this goofy stuff that we all love. And go grab your Egon Spengler journal and marvel at Videobob's, what was that, my third ecto? Yeah. You know what would be funny? I'm not suggesting harassing, no, or bullying. But it'd be funny if like all 120,000 of my subscribers went and made an account on GB Fans and just said, I love Videobob. Don't do that. Leave them alone. They don't want to be bothered. Let them squalor in their own hate. Leave them alone. That's fine. All right. I'll catch you guys later. This was just... It's gold. It's gold. I love it. I need to go through all this stuff and see if there's anything I missed. This is... I wonder if there's, I'm trying to see if there's credits of, trying to see if there's a credit on who made this, 'cause somebody's gonna get fired. I was trying to see, like, no, there's...